This last week in boxing, it's been an interesting week, hasn't it? We've seen a lot of news, we've heard a lot of news. We've heard Eddie Hearn talk about Anthony Joshua and his potential next fight. He gave a five-man name list, and he talked about Adja Cabayel, Joseph Parker, Daniel Dubois, amongst others. The interesting thing was he was talking about Dubois being the front runner. We're hearing Eddie Hearn mention this, that, and the other. We're hearing Turkey Al Sheikh mention Tyson Fury. I've even seen some articles saying Netflix are pushing for Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. And you do kind of wonder, is that kind of Turkey influence as well? Because there is rumours, and they are rumours, that Canelo versus Crawford, and I would imagine that will happen irrespective of whether he beats William Skull. I know we're all kind of looking past it, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. There's a lot of rumours that that show, which will be the kind of main first TKO Turkey everything boxing show, there's rumours that's actually going to be on Netflix as well. So there's a lot of push for Joshua versus Fury. We don't know what's going to happen there. But interestingly, we're not really hearing from Anthony Joshua himself. Are we? I haven't really heard anything from him over the last few weeks. I mean, it's pretty much Anthony Joshua was basically we've not heard really anything from him with regards fights or upcoming fights or anything from the horse's mouth since the Ring Magazine Award show. Now you got to remember that Ring Magazine Award show was on a Saturday back in January, and the Monday, and bear in mind he was mentioned in Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua was, the entire time. That's the fight he wants to do. He knows he's coming to the end of his career. He's 35 years old now. He'll be 36 in October. He knows he's near the end. He's coming to that point. And he was mentioned in Fury. And then, obviously, on the Monday, Fury announced, quote unquote, he was retired. And since then, we've heard very little. Yeah, Eddie Hearn can say what he wants to say. He can say, oh, well, it's the Dubois rematch next if we can't get the Tyson Fury fight. Yeah, listen, I doubt very much you're going to get the Dubois rematch for the simple reason Dubois is going to fight Alexander Usyk. Turkey seems to want that fight. Usyk seems to want that fight. You can push all you want, but I think Turkey's going to have the final say, and he's going to say, I don't care if you want that fight. It's going to be Usyk versus Dubois. That's what he wants to do. We heard, was it Frank Warren or who was it? Was it Gareth A. Davis? Someone saying that that's potentially going to be in a stadium. Somewhere we do not know. Maybe Wembley Stadium. They did it in a stadium the first time, but that was in Poland. I forget where. I think it was near the border with Ukraine. So it was like a homecoming of sorts for Alexander Usyk. So we know that's the main idea. If that fight's off the table, which is the Dubois fight, and Fury is retired and, seems for all intents and purposes that he is, well then, what is there for Anthony Joshua? Because I think at this point in his career, he's only really, he's past the point of no return at this point. I don't think he's going to get any better. We don't know his training situation. I've heard some rumours that, he may go back to Robert Garcia. I've heard other rumours that he's going to go to Jonathan Banks. Other people are saying, no, he's still with Ben Davison. So we don't even know what the situation is with his trainer, right? Much less when he's going to be fighting or whom he's going to be fighting. He's too long in the tooth now to go through a big process of rehabilitation. It's not going to make a blind bit of difference to a guy who's pushing 36, coming off the back of a devastating knockout defeat. I just think for Anthony Joshua, if it's not a Tyson Fury, what do you do? Really, what do you do at this point? And listen, Anthony Joshua, I've watched, I don't think, since he's turned pro, really, I don't think I've missed any of his fights. I genuinely cannot think of an AJ fight, even before I did YouTube, that I missed. I remember his fights with Frankie Gavin. Is it not Frankie Gavin? What am I thinking? Frankie Gavin. What's that guy's name? He fought Deontay Wilder. Jason Gavin. I knew it was something Gavin. I remember that fight very well. I remember when he fought Kevin Johnson. I remember all those old fights. And I think at this point now, it's just, you've had your day in the sun pretty much. I don't think he's going to get any better. The question then is, as I said, well, who do you fight? Joe Parker? Do you look to do a rematch? Because Joe Parker is kind of a bit in the wilderness now, if you think about it. Wins over Wilder, over Zhang, meant to get a world title shot against Dubois, ended up fighting Bacoli on short notice, knocks him out in 2 rounds. Where is he kind of fit into this? Because I don't want to see him go through another stretch of inactivity like he went through after the Zhang fight. And him against Joshua, you could probably still sell that. But I wouldn't be making Joshua a favourite in that fight. Joshua might feel confident because he's beaten Parker already. I think this is a much improved Parker than the Parker he fought in the Principality Stadium back in 2018. He seems to really be in a very good place mentally in his career. And I think back then, I'm not going to say he was in a bad place mentally, he wasn't, but he seems a lot more confident in his ability. Andy Lee has worked wonders with Joseph Parker, and his stable of fighters is really looking very good. I mean, Paddy Donovan, in spite of the results, we can safely say he is a world level fighter based off that performance he put in against Lewis Crooker, never mind the disqualification. So Joe Parker is in a real good place in his career. I like what I'm seeing, I really do. I've always said he's been a very talented fighter. That's why it's been frustrating sometimes to watch him hold back so much. It doesn't seem like he's doing that anymore. I would make Joe Parker a favourite against this version of Anthony Joshua. And again, you're talking about an AJ who's coming off the back of a devastating knockout defeat. I mean, when he fought Usyk both times, and he lost both fights comprehensively, he was never... Oh yeah, he was buzzed in the first fight a couple of times, in particular the last round. But he was never like he was against Daniel Dubois. And you've seen against Jermaine Franklin, he was a little bit gun shy, he was a little bit hesitant, and that's after being schooled twice. What's he gonna, honestly, what is he gonna be like after being knocked nearly out cold by Daniel Dubois? He's gonna be so gun shy, it's not even gonna be funny. And I think Joseph Parker will have a field day in that type of fight. Caballel, no sense. Makes no sense to put him in with Caballel. No one knows who the hell he is. No disrespect to Caballel, apart from the hardcores. He's been doing great on those Saudi shows. Real dark horse in the division. No one outside the hardcore knows who the hell Ajay Caballel is. And I would make him firm favourite over Joshua. I think he'd light him up with the body shots. And the way he fought Zhang really impressed me. I'd make him favourite. And what would you, again, if that happens, what do you do? I think that at this stage now with Joshua, if you're looking to match him with guys in the top 10, I'd find it very hard to pick him to beat any of those guys at this point. And then his marketability, I think, is dropped following the Dubois fight. He's still a massive name. But if he loses to, say, a Parker, a Caballel, or someone like that, if Tyson Fury does decide to come back and they do look to do that fight, yeah, like, you can still sell it, but like, it's not what it once was even now. If Joshua takes another L, good luck trying to sell that fight. Seriously, if he takes another L back to back, man, good luck trying to sell that fight. It's not going to happen. Like, you'll still do all right, but it's not going to make near as much money as both guys would want or think that it should bring in. So with Anthony Joshua, it's a real strange one that he's in. I've long since said it. I think you should just call it a day at this point. Maybe have a rematch with Dylan White in the O2 to kind of go out on a high. Maybe do something like that. I don't really see a problem with that. Go out on a high, go out with a win, beat your old rival. I think he's got the beat the Dylan White even still now, especially now. Because Dylan White looked absolutely shocking his last three fights, his last couple of fights, really, since he got the win over Povetkin. That's the last time he looked somewhat decent, and that Povetkin was shot to bits. He was shot to bits in the first fight. So, the one where he chinned Dylan White. So, yeah, I'd say just go do that fight. You fill out the O2, a little bit of a homecoming and a nice swan song goodbye, and that's it. I really think that's it. I just think Joshua is at that point now. So I asked the question, what do you have to deal with Anthony Joshua? That's what I think it is. So Eddie Hearn can mention those names of fighters. He can say Dubois the front runner, all that good stuff. But in reality, man, I think Anthony Joshua, I think he's at the point of no return. I really do. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Until next time, people, I hope you enjoyed the video. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, as always, if you haven't already. And until next time, peace.